Peter Pan is an ancient, ancient soul. And he finds these families, and he takes the children to Neverland where they stay young forever. And I've seen children just shower all over me with love. They want to just touch me and hug me, hold on and cry and not let go.
Michael Jackson met Gavin Arvizo in 2000. He was 10 years old, and he was dying of cancer. Michael wanted me to edit a short film of Michael and Gavin, and I don't think it was meant for the public to see. When I see that footage, it makes me uneasy. Is it possible that Michael is a child molester? Is it possible that he did something to this kid?
Dozens of investigators swarmed Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch. The search is tied to allegations from a 12-year-old boy that he was molested by Jackson.
Sheriff's Department, do you have a search warrant?
I was told that if you say or do anything, you're gonna kill your career.
Are there any secret rooms?
Michael had some kind of control over me. I didn't say what I should have said.
Tonight, Jackson is wanted by police.
The entire accusations against Michael was a scam.
Michael Jackson under arrest.
He had a succession of boys coming through his room and spending the night. He could abuse children almost with impunity.
I remember Gavin's mom saying, I don't care what he offers, I will never take the devil's money.
Jury in Santa Maria, California has reached a verdict.
If he's found guilty, it'll be a journey not back to Neverland, but straight to prison.
Do you think he's innocent? After everything you've seen, do you still think he's possibly innocent?
Michael Jackson has a lot at stake. After years of scandal and some pretty odd behavior, the king of pop may have to fight to retain his title.
At one time, the singer Michael Jackson was the hottest showbiz act in the world, but then his career drastically declined.
When I met Michael Jackson, he was renting this beautiful townhouse right off Central Park. I walk in and Michael's in this room. It was a little bit like this, you know, it was not a lot of light. And he's very shy. Michael is very shy. So I just started asking him questions like, what are you doing in New York? Ultimately, I'm finishing my Invincible album. Little did I realize that was going on for like a decade already. I was the rabbi at Oxford University for 11 years. And because I was so involved in the space of helping people order their lives, I felt that I could do that for Michael. I mean, everyone knew that Michael Jackson was troubled in some way, that he was a little bit off, he was different. In fact, if we want to be a little bit less kind, he was called Wacko Jacko. We started talking and the conversation just began to roll. Probably turned into a 2-3 hour meeting. And then he starts sharing even these very private things immediately.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Okay, let me ask you about, were you happy when I was little?
Nobody's heard those tapes before. And the things that Michael reveals in those tapes have no precedent.
My father made sure that we rehearsed every day. He had a belt in his hand. If you went out of step, you'd get it real bad. And he'd be breaking furniture, and it was just terrible. My mother, she'd always be in the back. Here now, Joe, no, you're gonna kill him. No, no, Joe, it's too much. Throw you and hit you hard as he can.
How did I feel listening to it? Unnerved. But I did begin to understand Michael so much more deeply.
My father comes home late. Open the door, because the door is locked. He says, I'm giving you 5 seconds. You don't open it, I'm gonna kick it down. And he starts kicking it. Boom, kick it, like breaking the door. And I'm, why do you sign that contract today? I go, I don't know. He goes, well, sign it. If you don't sign it, you're in trouble.
Joseph had this thing, I'm raising men, not boys. Crying was unacceptable. Anything that he thought made them appear the least bit feminine, that didn't sit well with him at all.
His father had wanted him to be a performer, but had never given him unconditional love. And he said to me, do you understand that from the age of 5, I was taken to nightclubs where we saw stuff, nightclubs.
Every night I was in clubs with a lady who took off all her clothes, threw her panties into the audience, and the men would grab them and sniff them. She put these things on her breast and moved them around, and then she showed everything.
His brothers, anytime they were on tour, when they were adults, there were many women that they would go in and out of hotels with all that, rock and roll stuff, except for Michael. Michael would run away from it. Sometimes even by his own admission, he would cry.
He always said to me he found it disgusting. Did it lead him to believe that sex can be disgusting? Yeah, possibly. That's not the best way to discover what love and sex is about.
I always said, if I ever have kids, I will never behave this way. I said, I won't touch a hair on their head. Because people always say they abuse, and it's not true. I'm totally the opposite.
Michael was robbed of that childhood innocence. And Michael spent his life trying to get the world's attention, thinking it might compensate, and it never did.
I met Michael Jackson in 1984. The Jackson 5 wasn't the victory tour, their reunion. Michael introduced the moonwalk to the world at that time.
I saw Michael Jackson! I saw Michael Jackson! Yeah, I saw it!
At that time, his popularity was through the roof. When you think about 1984 and you think about Michael Jackson, you think about this dark-skinned black man who women, whether they were black, white, or whatever, they were crazy about him. Thought he was the most handsome dude there was. He was sexy, he was charming, he was electric. He was the king of pop. And then there was this mystery to him too, because he never really said much.
He lives here with his mother and 2 sisters, a boa constrictor, a llama, and a room full of mannequins. He loves mannequins. He is a Jehovah's Witness, neither smokes, drinks, nor swears, loves Disneyland, and is very shy.
And then Michael did something weird. In the late 80s, early 90s, he stopped really having adult friends. I know family members were wondering, what's happening there? He basically cut them off. And then, of course, he built this amazing place, Neverland.
It was a very isolated ranch, like 3,000 acres. So there was this contradictory dichotomy of him on the one hand being the most recognizable entertainer on earth, and then on the other hand, never visible.
So when you built Neverland, was it your special place to protect yourself?
Yeah, I could walk around on a lake and not know I'm being spied at. And I was just creating in my life things I never got to do as a child. Peter Pan knew what the real golden magic of childhood was all about. And he finds these families, and he takes the children to Neverland where they stay young forever.
It was the summer of 2000. My family and I arrived in Neverland. Michael was so reclusive, never visible, always hidden away. And I would say to him, you're a youthful guy and you don't have friends here. He was totally alienated from his father. And I began to understand that Michael was living a nightmare.
Michael!
Stop pulling it down.
Michael!
Stop.
Oh my God! Michael!
They're getting hurt. Okay, up. Come on, watch your fingers, put your hand down.
Watch your fingers. So beautiful.
Come on.
So beautiful.
Watch your fingers.
You're
Watch your
so
fingers.
beautiful. I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
Working for Michael Jackson was a sea of madness all the time.
Michael, did you send my picture from yesterday? Can you bring it back to me, please?
Sorry, I didn't see it.
Mike.
Okay, we gotta go. We have to go. Watch out, we have to go. Watch your head. Watch your head. Watch your head. Poke it back.
Why aren't they helping us out there? That's cute.
Okay, all the way up. All the way up. Let go.
I was a 21-year-old producer trying to make it in Hollywood. One project led to another project, and before I know it, I'm working for the biggest star in the history of stardom, Michael Jackson. From that day on, for the next few years, me and Michael's director of photography filmed everything for Michael. Going into a public place with Michael Jackson can only be properly or sufficiently understood if you actually have seen it happen. There is no comparison to Michael Jackson fans versus the rest of fandom. It is an entire different planet. It is people that truly look at Michael Jackson, not just as a man, but also as a god and their religion. It's like the biblical version of modern stardom. But I have very, very few memories of when I actually felt like Michael was happy. I think that the only times that I really saw Michael happy was when he was playing, when he was surrounded by kids. And that's why Neverland was perfect for Michael Jackson. If any kid could build their dream house, they would build Neverland Ranch. A train station, a carousel, roller coasters, a zoo. It was just surreal. Michael Jackson, in my opinion, was just a kid. I never saw a sexual side of Michael Jackson. I saw an asexual man who wanted to be 12 years old and wanted to have water balloon fights.
Welcome to Neverland. Hey! And have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you!
I saw a ton of kids visit Neverland. I saw a ton of sick kids with big smiles on their faces.
I wanted to be a place where I could bring sick kids and deprived and underprivileged from around the world. A haven for them where they could feel safe and have some escapism. Or kids who never got to see this type of thing in the inner cities. You know, breathe fresh air and see the mountain.
You have all these sick kids who came to Neverland Ranch and met Michael Jackson and met this Peter Pan-like figure and had the time of their lives for one day before they went back to a cancer hospital.
Michael wanted me to understand that he had noble motives, that he was a good person, that he had a kind heart, that he was genuinely devoted to children in general and to sickly children in particular. And Michael kept on saying to me that a child who has cancer, who he had met and befriended, was coming to stay for the first time.
Gavin Arvizo was a 10-year-old kid. He was small, he was frail, and he had terminal cancer. I remember having to edit a short film of Michael and Gavin. The video was made for Gavin's family and for Michael to enjoy and for Michael to have. And I don't think it was meant for the public to see. The first time you see it, I think you're a little taken back, especially if you don't know Michael Jackson really well. It felt really uncomfortable because it's an adult man seemingly having like a picnic with a 10-year-old. It shows Michael and Gavin holding hands, and the soundtrack that Michael specifically wanted to use was I'll Be There, which is a really, really sweet song. But it seems to sound like a little bit of a romantic song to the adult ear, but he wanted to be his best friend. He wanted to give this kid the best possible memories that he could at the end of his life.
We're gonna walk out of the shot. Gavin just had chemotherapy, he's not feeling good, and it just touches your heart. To me, he represents the white light that we see before we die. He's that light, that hope. Don't be afraid, come. It's like an angel.
I walked into Gavin's hospital room, and there was a gigantic gift basket full of things like PlayStations. And I said, who gave you that? And Gavin said, Michael. That's the first time I heard about the involvement of Michael Jackson in Gavin's life. I was teaching stand-up comedy at the Laugh Factory to kids from tough neighborhoods. And Gavin was naturally funny. The Arvizos lived in East LA in a one-bedroom apartment. There were mattresses on the floors and sheets dividing where the parents slept and where the children slept. Janet Arvizo had 3 kids. She was an effervescent, outgoing person who wanted to give her kids opportunities even though they didn't have a lot of money. Gavin was a very affectionate child and his father had been abusive, so he craved attention. We had comedians that work frequently at the Laugh Factory helping out as mentors. I saw a lot of people going out of their way to help Gavin and this family. And so he was introduced to Michael Jackson because they thought he would get joy out of it. Gavin would talk to me about the fun he was having at Neverland and how I should go with them. Janet told me that Michael and Gavin were doing a lot of pranks, a lot of sneaking up on people, a lot of playful wrestling. And I would say, where is everyone sleeping? She would say, oh, we're sleeping in the cottages. I never said to her, I worry, but my view is that Michael Jackson probably had a sexual attraction for children. I knew about the Jordan Chandler accusations. So this is 10 years prior to Gavin.
Michael Jackson is at the center of a criminal investigation.
Pop superstar Michael Jackson is facing allegations of child abuse.
He knew how to manipulate his world.
I am not guilty of these allegations, but if I am guilty of anything, it is of giving all that I have to give to help children all over the world.
Jackson settled this case out of court and paid his accuser an estimated $20 million. There's a widespread feeling that he still has something to hide.
Michael Jackson built an amusement park in the middle of nowhere. I don't think that's the behavior of somebody who's not attracted sexually to children. But we don't know the truth because we're not in the room, so all we can do is formulate an opinion. And I wasn't worried about Gavin being targeted because he had cancer, he was dying. I thought, why not let him go, pet the giraffe, just enjoy it.
I took Gavin on the Neverland, because you don't get to climb trees at 10 years old. We looked up and looked at the leaves and the branches and could hear the water down below. Everybody should have that experience and never feel like I'm too grown up to climb a tree. Your love to him was amazing. He's special.
Michael and Gavin had obviously created a bond through Gavin's sickness, and his family had an obvious and reasonable reason to really adore Michael.
My name is Star, and I really feel sad about my brother all sick and everything. All they know about the cancer is aggressive and everything. That's it.
The youngest son of the Arvizos was named Star. And when you met Star, all he talked about was his future in comedy and TV. Star just wanted to be a famous kid. Star wanted to be a TV host. Star wanted so much of the LA and fame world. And obviously, if you're put in Michael Jackson's world and you have access to cameras and Neverland Ranch, you just found your way to the big time.
Good evening, welcome to the Neverland channel. My name is Star. Here we are live at the Neverland Park. As you can see, the kids are excited and they're full of popcorn.
Michael paid for a big production crew to make a television pilot.
You are watching the Neverland channel. All kids, all fun, 24 hours around the world.
And it was the exploits around Neverland Ranch, meeting the elephants, feeding the giraffes, going on the train.
Look at, Michael has so many fields of grass. I love being here.
Sort of like Nickelodeon at Neverland.
Whoa, look at all sorts of rides over there.
Gavin was in it a little bit, but Star was the host.
as you can see, I'm here with the elephants and their trainers. Could I ask you?
It was obviously done out of the kindness of Michael's heart to make this child Star feel good about something or to do something for the child.
And there you have it. It's exclusive of the Neverland prehistoric animals. And there it is, the exclusive of the elephants. And that's a wrap.
On the surface, Neverland looks like a marvelous experience for children. And they felt like the most special little boys in the world. They craved more of that.
Here I am with my very, very good friend of mine, Gavin.
But Michael Jackson was really good at seducing these kids. He presented himself to the world at I am Peter Pan, and the spin control that he had never had a childhood was to disarm us.
Well, my favorite show is the video.
But it was a facade.
Because I want to be the greatest dancer in the world.
Gavin was a fierce little boy, but he suffered. They had to remove a giant tumor from his abdomen. They also removed one of his kidneys. I said goodbye to him in my prayers every night when I left the hospital. We thought he would die.
I spoke to Gavin again last night. I was crying a mess on the phone. Because he called me Daddy. He said, "Can I call you Dad?" I said, "Of course."
Michael helped arrange blood transfusions. He helped arrange certain cancer cares. And who knows why or how, but somehow Gavin Arvizo survived a terminal form of cancer.
My heart just broke wide open. And he was really going to recover. And I was just overwhelmed by that. We went and bought Christmas presents. I remember that Gavin's hair had all grown back. I was almost in tears. But when I saw him that Christmas and he was healthy, that's when I worried about how he might really now be in harm's way regarding Michael Jackson. After Gavin got better, Janet told me that she wasn't able to get through to Michael Jackson and they were not being invited back to Neverland. So there were all these confusing things that were happening. But I know how Gavin is, and you know, once he became friends with Michael Jackson, he wanted to spend time with Michael.
Well, after spending 3 years and a reputed $20 million, Michael Jackson is out to rock the world with his first studio album of new songs in 10 years.
I am at the Beverly Hills Hotel meeting Michael Jackson for the first time. I received a phone call from a friend at Sony who was complaining and very worried that the Michael Jackson record was not going to come in on time. And that was a problem because that's costing $1 million, you know, a minute kind of thing. My role was to make sure that they could get a record in. When you work with like rap artists and stuff like that, it's like no hookers, no blow. We got to get this in, and we got a due date of the 15th. I'm there to talk business. But then there was a mysterious man that just kind of showed up with a briefcase full of just pharmaceuticals. There was loads of pills and drugs. Demerol was a big one. And then we zipped around the corner and went to a pharmacy and picked up more drugs. I'm like, what the hell? What is this? Genius, what are you talking about? He's drugged out. In the studio, I realized very quickly that we're not focused on what we should be focused on. He doesn't wake up until 3 in the afternoon, and then you're sitting there like waiting for hours and hours and hours. And then he gets up and I don't feel like it. He wasn't even there half the time. I thought, why isn't anybody saying anything? He was surrounded by yes people, and if you didn't say yes, you were whisked into the corner.
My biggest concern was the fact that he's woozy and out of it all the time. The fact that he would call me up from Neverland here in this house and say to me, "Shmuley, I love you, I miss you." And I would say to Michael, you know that this is going to kill you. "Shmuley, it's medical, it's this." I said, "Michael, you know, you're too smart to talk yourself into this. There's nothing medical about this." I was trying to save him from a downward spiral.
Thank you for waiting. Thank you, Michael. Michael!
At that time, Michael was divorced. I felt very strongly that he needed a wife. He needed a soulmate. He needed someone who would ground him.
Let's go shake him up. Let's show what you do to the crowds with your daddy in the window.
They've been there since 6 o'clock this morning.
No, they're on the wrong place.
He had been married to Debbie Rowe, and they had 2 kids together. People were speculating about the marriage. Was she a surrogate mother? Was it a real marriage?
Michael made the decision to have kids that were not African Americans.
If you want a lightsaber, shake it for me.
He did not want them to have the looks of his father, and he didn't want them to have the traits of his father.
In 2000, he divorces Debbie Rowe, and then he's suddenly raising the kids by himself. They were probably 3 and 2 at the time, and very attached to him. I was trying to resuscitate and rehabilitate Michael, not his career, but his personhood. You know, to get him, let's have a more normal schedule. Let's get the kids out with play dates with other kids. Let's even get the kids maybe into school. And then he wasn't being productive with his artistry.
It's a continuous kind of train wreck ride of not being able to focus on this record. You can see where it's going. It's heading towards a tragedy, a self-imposed tragedy. Shortly after the album comes out, we are committed to go to several record stores. One of them, being the biggest, is the Virgin Megastore in New York City, Times Square. He didn't want to be there. There was kind of like this feeling of hope being lost. A hit, that's what they want. Well, that's not what they got. $30 million later, they get a clunker.
His latest album, Invincible, only sold a disappointing 2 million copies in the U.S.
Invincible? I don't think so.
The train keeps going. Where's the next stop coming to, folks?
Jackson shocked the world, dangling his own son from high atop a hotel balcony.
Once I saw him dangling his child, I mean, that was game, set, match point for me. That man shouldn't be around children.
What's with your brother?
My brother is not a crazy character. He's not the wacko jackal that people say. He was just caught up in the moment.
Michael calls Jermaine after the Larry King interview and says, you know, don't do any more interviews. I have something coming up. It's gonna just blow everyone away. People are gonna be amazed. They're gonna be shocked with what I got coming. He talked about what turned out to be the Martin Bashir documentary.
I started getting calls from someone who worked with Martin Bashir, his Jewish producer, trying to like pull the Jewish card. Hi, Shmuley, you're a rabbi. You therefore have to help me get my boss, Martin Bashir, to interview Michael Jackson. And I went to Michael and I said, I don't know Martin Bashir, but the thing he did with Diana was not good.
Bombshell after bombshell dropped by the Princess of Wales in her first ever primetime television interview. A British public unaccustomed to television therapy sessions heard their fairy tale princess admit to having an extramarital affair, an eating disorder.
I have known the Jackson family for going on close to half a century. I was the attorney to the family for many years, and I knew all about the Martin Bashir documentary way far in advance.
Michael's managers asked Michael if there were any children that they could bring to Neverland Ranch to film for the documentary, and Gavin Arvizu's name came up. Michael hadn't seen Gavin for a year and a half.
So many people warned him, don't do the Martin Bashir documentary. Don't do it. He will hurt Michael. He hurt Princess Diana. Diana divorced Charles as a result. And you're going to do a documentary with Martin Bashir, Michael? Don't do it, Michael.
There's a nervousness about a very nervous, tense vibe about him doing this documentary at Neverland, right? This is an indicator that people are nervous about what Michael could be doing or saying, because you can't control him.
What happens when you spend 8 months with Michael Jackson?
ABC started dropping amazing commercials.
See for yourself. It's Michael Jackson.
It looks like it was going to be a phenomenal show. And everyone is excited. The family's excited. Jermaine is excited.
A 2-hour event you have to see to believe.
You know, a global audience is watching this.
Michael Jackson's star has been falling for some time, but the anticipation ahead of this documentary is now immense. When Living with Michael Jackson airs this evening, these streets are going to be deserted. Fans and critics alike are saying they're going to be staying in to watch the program. With his reputation in America very much at stake, for Michael Jackson, it must be a nervous wait.
I went to Havenhurst, Jackson's home. I sit down in the living room there, and you know, Catherine comes down the stairs. It's this winding staircase, and she comes down. And, you know, Jermaine is sitting on the couch next to me, and we're talking, and it's big television there. And we watched the Martin Bashir documentary, and I'll never forget.
8 months ago, I put a proposal to Michael Jackson. Show me the real man, but show me everything.
My boyfriend called and said, "Have you seen this special with Michael Jackson?" I said, "No, my VCR recorded it." Jimmy said, "Gavin's in it." And my heart just sank because that didn't sound like a good idea.
I'm staying in this little crappy hotel one night. I think it was in the South somewhere. And it's gonna be on. Should I watch it? No, Shmuley, don't succumb to temptation. Don't watch it. You know it's gonna upset you, but I watched it. Did I believe that Martin Bashir was there to make Michael look good? No, I did not.
I'll show me. I'm going to show you. This is Michael Jackson's favorite shop in Las Vegas, with the luckiest manager in the world.
How about that?
You bought that?
Michael's life was not ready to be open to the public because he would wake up every day at 6 in the afternoon, stay up the entire night. You know, and he was blowing money to compensate for feelings of maybe worthlessness.
This chess set, isn't it beautiful, this set?
And that's what you saw in that stupid documentary. He goes in and spends $6 million on total garbage that he probably never saw again.
Oh, it's sold, look. How about this one, right?
Is this yours?
Yeah, that's the sold sign, mean it's for me.
Okay, how much is that one?
Did we ever get this one, these ones?
It's only 89,000.
Being able to have a front row seat with his family and seeing their reaction. I'll never forget where Michael tells Martin Bashir that he's climbing a tree.
Let me hold the umbrella.
Yeah.
You go and climb it, and when you've climbed it, let's see how inspiring it is.
And Joseph, of course, like, what is wrong with that boy? You know, Jermaine was like, this kid is crazy. He's out of his mind.
Having water balloon fights and climbing trees, I think that those two are my favorite.
Don't you prefer making love or going to a concert?
And he's saying he would rather climb a tree than have sex.
You really mean that?
This grown man, they were horrified.
Michael Jackson was socially not like you or like I. Michael was in a different class of human. I think that's why Martin Bashir didn't understand Michael. I think that's why most journalists didn't understand Michael.
I'm kind of shy.
Like most Martin Bashir productions, 80% of it is really great.
Oh, you know how to do the moonwalk. I learned it from you guys.
Playing with kids and comforting them, that's great.
Oh, don't stand up yet, hold on.
And 20% of it is like getting shot in the head. Especially the interview with the Arvizo family.
And then I met 12-year-old Gavin and his brother and sister.
And then there was the scene where we see this young boy, Gavin Arvizo, who supposedly Michael helped cure his cancer. It was like, okay, they might make something of this.
There was one night I stood in there, I asked him if I could stay in his bedroom. And he let me stay in the bedroom. And I was like, Michael, you can sleep on the bed.
Wow. I just remember looking at Joseph's face and Jermaine's face, Catherine. They were stunned.
And then he finally said, okay, if you love me, you can sleep on the bed. I was like, oh, man. And so I finally slept on the bed. But it was fun that night. I slept on the floor.
It was like, what the heck was that? And you see Gavin put his head on Michael's shoulder, and there was this cloud that came over the living room.
Why can't you share your bed? The most loving thing to do is to share your bed with someone. You know?
You really think that?
Yeah.
My mouth was agape. Did you just say that it's okay for an adult to share a bed with a child that is not their own? It was, for me, as if he had fallen and crashed.
But haven't you got a spare room or a spare house here where he could have stayed?
Yeah, but no, yes, we have guest units, but whenever kids come here, they always want to stay with me.
I thought, man, he's really glutton for punishment here. And the Jacksons knew it was a problem. They knew, based on what they had already went through with Michael, with Jordan Chandler, that somebody is going to say something about this. This is going to be a media talking point.
The documentary was pretty shocking. I was worried that Michael was using Gavin to normalize his lifestyle, sleeping with children he's not related to. That's sort of the narcissist at work.
They always just want to stay. They say, can I stay with you tonight? I go, if it's okay with your parents, yes, you can.
But whatever he was trying to do with Martin Bashir had backfired. And it's Michael Jackson's brand that's at stake here. That's big.
Pop star Michael Jackson drops one bombshell after another about his bizarre behavior.
Millions of people were watching as Jackson revealed he allows young children to sleep in his bed.
What kind of loony would A, do it, and B, go on national TV and admit it?
Michael made tragic, horrific mistakes. What are you doing alone with a kid in your bed, even if it's not physical or sexual? The next day, I decided I had to make a statement.
Those of us who were once in Michael's circle or still are, enough of the defense. We have got to save this man from self-destructing.
We went into red alert, all hands on deck. What can we do from a public relations standpoint to help Michael?
Every time we trust the media to do something for us, they turn around and they do us wrong.
So they feel even burned by the media.
They feel very burned by the media.
It caused a worldwide commotion. 27 million people watched that show. Gavin Arvizu put his head to his left on Michael's right shoulder. Michael told me that when the kid did that, he was furious. He's putting his head on my shoulder? What is going on here? This is going to be terrible. Michael knew it right away. Did Bashir tell him to do that? Well, that's the word that I got. Do I know that for a fact? No, I do not.
You had to know that Martin Bashir was going to be Martin Bashir, and Martin Bashir bullshit was going to come out with it. And anything that was reasonable and not provocative was going to be left on the editing room floor.
Now, Michael Jackson is fighting back, releasing some of the interview with the British journalist.
As it turns out, Michael's personal videographer was videotaping Martin Bashir.
And we started going to media outlets with that footage.
Here's some of what you didn't see.
Your relationship with your children is spectacular. And in fact, it almost makes me weep when I see you with them, because your interaction with them is just so natural, so loving, so caring.
Well, that's not how it quite came out on television, is it?
It was quite a production. You got to give the devil his due. Martin Bashir did an incredible job.
We're at DEFCON 12,000, and we don't know what the possible kickback, blowback from this event is going to be.
Oh, we're on camera?
Yeah.
Oh.
We don't know this family very well. We don't know what their motivations are. I thought we want to keep them as far away from tabloids and people with checks as possible. What are some of the things people say about Michael that are true or aren't true?
Don't believe what they say.